With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three: Russell, Ocon, and Max Verstappen. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and it's Esteban Ocon in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Tsunoda, Norris, Drugovich, Albon, Théo Pourchaire, Sargent, Joe, Hauger, Gasly, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Daniel, Ricciardo, Liam Lawson, Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please. All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. We're under the lights once again here in Qatar. Last year we took a year off due to a small footballing tournament that was being hosted, but it's all excitement on the track now. We're back here in Lusail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-prong shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Ocon, Drugovich, Norris, Daniel, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Halger, Gasly, Perez, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Teo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Stroll, Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Daniel. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please. Okay, so everything looks good on the power unit cycles, so let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. grip levels are going to start falling away soon. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 4.6 seconds.
That's it for another Grand Prix, and a fantastic win here for Alfa Romeo. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So here they come now, out onto the podium. It's thrilling to see this team go toe-to-toe with the best in the sport and come out on top. What a superb victory for the Alfa Romeo team. So let's review the updated driver standings. Well, it wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with... Thanks. I appreciate you taking the time to help out.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Albon, Daniel, and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix. So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. What a great lap from Alexander Albon yesterday. He'll start from pole position. And Daniel completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Tsunoda, Norris, Sargent, Russell, Joe, Drugovich, Teo Pourchaire, Perez, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Hauger, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Stroll, Liam Lawson, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears. So go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please. Yes, mate, I cannot complain about that one. That was an excellent drive. Well done.
Daniel increases their championship lead. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
The following year, the 1973 Brazilian GP was won by
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. That gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Daniel completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Tsunoda, Sargent, Joe, Russell, Drugovich, Ocon, Perez, Teo Pourchaire, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Gasly, Stroll, Norris, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Ricciardo and Dennis Hauger. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me again for today's race. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always a risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through Turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
Okay, so let's go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs. Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now, push. Okay, mate, that's it. Go, go, go. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Lando's in the pits. Lando in the pits. Okay, push, push. Gap to the car behind. 7.6 seconds. Car behind's just boxed for mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. Final lap, push, push. You're leading the pack, that's P1. That's Albon behind you. Okay, car behind trailing us, 9.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Final lap, push, push. Drivers World Champion. What a result. Enjoy this one, my friend. Enjoy it.
And so the celebrations begin, and well-earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. And this also means there's no catching our leader anymore. And we crown a new World Drivers' Champion. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Daniel.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.